I don't even know where to start with tonight's show, my friends. I have absolutely no idea where even to start. Where to start, I have no earthly idea. And we're going to start with a lot of things. We're going to talk about Laken Riley. We're going to talk about Matt Gaetz. We're going to talk about the View apology that we're not going to show it. We're going to talk about Comcast and MSDNC and everything that we knew that we used to be called liberal media is collapsing before our very eyes. And America on the brink of World War III. How do you like them apples, my friends? How do you like them apples? How does this thing work? How does this work? I mean, first, I want to welcome you. I want to say thank you for watching. I want to make sure you remain, you are verified as having been subscribed to Lionel Nation, which is critical, and I thank you. I want to talk to you about the case, which I think is the most horrible. Laken Riley's killer does not get the death penalty. And many people consider that a miscarriage of justice. What do you think? What do you think? Now, the facts of the case, let me bring you up to speed. This is very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Today, Judge Patrick Haggard found Jose Ibarra, an illegal alien from Venezuela, a Tren de Aragua TDA member, guilty of brutally, savagely, and sadistically murdering 22-year-old Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. He received life in prison without the possibility of parole as requested by prosecutors. Though some may applaud the American criminal justice system for the outcome, some believe that in reality, this verdict represents a gross and horrible miscarriage of justice. The severity of the crime, the horror, coupled with the fact that this pond scum vermin is an illegal alien, and that the victim was an American citizen, innocent, who did nothing wrong. People are now saying this is travesty. This man violated our sovereignty, our jurisdiction. He is a burglar, a trespasser. He breached our border thanks to the Biden administration. He opened the door for this savage to enter our country. He violated our jurisdiction, our sovereignty by breaking in illegally, sucking off the public teat for years, and then brutally, savagely murdering an American citizen. And his punishment, what does he get? He gets to stay in this country for the rest of his life on the taxpayer's dime. How do you like that, huh? Or maybe we can deport him. What happens when you deport him? I think they're going to want to keep him there. What? Is that justice? Is that justice? Is this a true effect? The end result of Biden's immigration philosophy? Is that what this is? Laken Riley jogged in a wooded area near her school in February. This animal attacked her with the intent to you know the word. I don't know if the algorithms, but the RAPE term. We'll call it rope, just because we live in this world of these strange algorithms. He attacked her with the intent to brutalize her, And after she fought back, he killed her before dumping her body in the woods like garbage. She wasn't a human being. She wasn't Laken Riley. She was garbage. Nothing. Somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's future mother and wife, and nothing. Trash. Meant nothing to her. Police quickly identified him as the suspect and arrested him the day after the murder. Now, despite the media's obvious efforts to conceal the fact, the public learned that Ibarra entered the U.S. illegally. He's an illegal alien. In 2022, he had a bunch of run-ins with the law before he attacked and murdered and killed and brutalized this Laken Riley. It was later revealed, in fact, that he was associated with the Tren de Aragua, the TDAs, the same group that you might have seen who were forcibly seizing apartment complexes in Colorado where nobody knew what to do. Nobody knew what to do with them. And what happens next in this thing is it goes to show you the absolute collapse of our country's policies towards the border, towards illegal aliens, and none of this, it just, because these are dreamers. Now, Border Patrol agents grabbed him and apprehended him when he initially crossed the border, but let him go so he could pursue his asylum claim. Isn't that sweet? We caught you. You violated our rules, but we're going to let you go so you can pursue the asylum claim. How about that? And he went to New York, where police later charged him with, quote, reckless endangerment of a child and acting in a manner injurious to a child in August of 2023. Yet, he remained in our country. Breaks in, involves himself with a child. And it's amazing. Then he traveled to Georgia aboard one of these free flights. Remember those remember you saw those white jets? They funded by your taxpayer dollars, courtesy of Joe Biden and Kamala. And despite the absolute overwhelming evidence of his lawlessness, his felonious activity, his savagery, and no one stepped in at any point to remove him and eject him from our country. They could have done it. No problem. Come on in. And he's not the only person guilty in this. No. The local folks, the authorities, the jurisdictions, the governments that fostered these sanctuary city, this nonsense called sanctuary cities, this complete utter bullshit. Biden, Harris, everybody else, Mayorkas, all of them that aided, abetted, counseled, facilitated a full-scale, absolute invasion of the southern border, they should be found guilty as well. Now, the DA for Athens, Clark, and Oconee counties, Deborah Gonzalez, initially chose to pursue life without the possibility of parole rather than the death penalty because it already constitutes a very substantial punishment. This was the argument that was given. She also promised to take into account, quote, the collateral consequences to undocumented defendants. I don't know what that means. Once she brought charges and basically followed the rules in line with sanctuary policy. I mean, so I guess she's worried about what? In deportation. The Athens City Council, Athens, Georgia, previously passed a resolution welcoming illegals in 2019 and reiterated and repeated and echoed that wonderful sentence of love in a 2023 statement. the Athens Clarke County Sheriff's Office will not enforce a 48-hour detainer for ICE without a federal warrant or court. Now, this lady Gonzalez, Deborah Gonzalez, she was elected in 2020 with the backing of, you guessed it, George Soros. Lost her re-election bid to an independent candidate named Kalki Yalamanchili. Through the grace and by the grace of Almighty or whoever or Providence, Pops, Biden, and Kamala are on the trash heap of history after suffering a brutal humiliation. But had these folks taken the time to enforce, to apply the laws to the bare minimum regarding border security, just the rudimentary abecedarian limits, Ibarra, this pond scum, this waste of flesh, along with millions of other illegals, would have never made it into the country to begin with, had they just followed the law. Even Bill Clinton recently admitted as much while on the campaign trail. Bill Clinton said, quote, this is his quote, "You had a case in Georgia not very long ago, didn't you? They made an ad about it, about a young woman who had been killed by an immigrant. Yeah, well, if they'd all been properly vetted, that probably wouldn't have happened." Bill Clinton. It's incredible. And nothing perhaps better shows you this incredible, the differences between how the federal government, reveres and loves and lauds and protects these illegals. Nothing shows you then Biden and his interaction, I think one time with Marjorie Taylor Greene from Georgia over the murder. After Marjorie Taylor Greene, God bless her, demanded that Joe Biden say Riley's name. Remember that? Say her name. Biden called Ibarra an illegal. And then this encounter, he called Laken Riley Lincoln Riley. Lincoln. It's the most incredible thing. And then afterwards, the man who couldn't even get this woman's name right begged forgiveness for using the term regarding Ibarra. Remember that? He called her and he called him an illegal. And then he said, "I'm so sorry I said illegal." The hell with her. Didn't care anything about her. This beautiful young lady whose life is, she's just extinguished, expunged. Instead of apologizing for getting her name wrong, the only thing he cares about was, "I'm sorry, did I say illegal?" This son of a bitch is going to join thousands of other illegals in our federal prisons. Now, the government, the GAO, estimates that non-citizens account for 15% of the federal prison population as of 2022. There was a report from the U.S. Sentencing Commission says that over almost 22,000 non-citizens, illegals, were sentenced in the federal system in FY 2023. This represents a third of all the individuals sentenced in fiscal year 2023. And of those 22,000, 88.5% were illegals, and more than half had prior criminal history. This is why President Trump won. This is why that was the mandate. This, you got that? Jen Psaki? Now, many people believe that he shouldn't languish in an American prison. His association with Tren de Aragua, as well as Venezuela's known corruption, makes sending him back absolutely a waste of time. They're not going to keep him in prison. They don't care about women. They treat women, this group, not Venezuelans, but this group, like nothing. Therefore, many people suggest that the death penalty is in fact the most practical and available, the best way to deal with this sick monster. But the argument, though, is it's not, many people say it's not about, saving money or efficiency or what's economically feasible. It's about what many suggest is our reputation, our soul, our honor, and how we think about others. We have to show, it is argued, that the value and the lives of our citizens over the plight and the harrowing conditions of our these illegals, that Americans weigh out. Many argue that the American justice system must bring swift retribution immediately. And some people also suggest that some crimes are so heinous, so awful, so aggravating in terms of the facts, that the only way to address this, the only available means, the only thing that makes a statement that tells the world what we feel is death. 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 The only thing. How's that sound? Marcus Aurelius says, when can we all stop pretending that Joe Biden has ever been in charge of anything? I think we can start now, sir. Kelly McKinnon says, Mr. L, they should be ashamed of what they have done. Indeed. And George Len says, might have turned out different if this was in Bibb County, Macon, Georgia. I went to school down there and they don't cotton this sort of stuff. Could very well be. And that, of course, not having the effect of a George Soros as well. George says, what's a death penalty when World War III is looming? Well, World War III, not necessarily. Who knows? Let me stick with this. I'll never forget a friend of mine. I think I told you this before, but I'll tell you again. I have a friend of mine who lived in, he's a real right winger. You'd love him. Military guy. He was in the military, our side, of course. He is a real tough guy. I mean, he doesn't cotton anything. He is rough and tumble and tough, and he wants to get these bastards. And he lived in China. And in China, he was asked, what would you do? What would they do if somebody, God forbid, affected your attacked, you know what I'm talking about, the R word, your daughter? What would they do in your country? And he said, honestly, probably nothing. Probably nothing. Probably nothing. I mean, they go to prison or something for a while. He says, you know what we do here? They execute him so fast, it would make your head spin. Limited appeals. Now, in this case, what could possibly have been a reason not to? First of all, they waived, I love that. They waived a jury trial. They wouldn't even do that. They waived a jury trial, went to a bench trial. The judge isn't going to find them not. At least with the jury, I mean, you might. I mean, what are you going to lose? I don't understand it, but that's their problem. I'm glad they did it. We don't care about anything in this country. We don't care about anything. We don't care about gender, genitals, family, tradition, honor, religion, faith, glory, respect. Nothing. Not law, not order, not anything. We don't care. We simply don't care. We're a joke. We are a joke. There is no, we have abnegated. We have given up every bit of our self-respect through this past whatever period of time. It's the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. I cannot tell you the level of disgust that I feel. I cannot tell you the level of horror that I feel. I cannot tell you how these people make me sick to my stomach. Let me take a bit of a breather here because I swear to God, you have no idea how I would love to do things that I know are not right, that I know are incorrect, that I know are medieval, but you have no idea what I would love to do if I had the chance to show people what we think about people who hurt our children. But first this. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. Now, I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. My friends, on a lighter note, perhaps a better note, I hope a better note, I hope. We're seeing something so incredible right now. In addition to this, we are seeing the complete and total destruction of what appears to be liberal leftist media. It is one of the most incredible things anybody has ever seen. You can't believe this. And things got really, really weird because the Wall Street Journal reported that Comcast which owns MSDNC and everything else, was planning to spin off its suite, its collection of NBC Universal owned cable channels, including the very network that employs them, MSNBC. Comcast is expected, and what it actually announced, that it's moving forward with a plan to spin off its cable TV networks, including, according to people familiar with it. And given the challenges and this, so anyway, to make a long story short, Meager and Joe took off. Breathing it together, Uncle Lenny. Breathing it together. Thank you. Breathing it together. It's interesting. So right now, the people who are looking at this are absolutely going crazy, looking at Meager and Joe as saying, "You rat bastards, how could you do this? Don't you understand? You can't try to make amends with this man this quick. And they're recognizing the fact it's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. It is a red letter day because it's not so much at MSDNC. That's not it. It's because the people who run these lies, the people who constantly tell you that we are the subject of disinformation, that we must be censored and censured, they're the ones being clipped by virtue of the fact that nobody believes them. They've rejected their arguments. Throw ABC in there, caused the debate as well. Indeed. This is the most incredible thing in the world. Do you understand? Do you grasp what is happening here? This isn't just about changing, what am I trying to say? Changing thoughts and behaviors and habits. This is about completely and totally, once and for all, rejecting the lies, the absolute unmitigated lies from these horrid people who for the longest time thought that they had some monopoly on deception. And we're not going to tolerate it anymore. Do you understand what that is? There was another thing that happened. I'm not going to explain this to you, but I'm going to try this because I told you I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play anymore. But somebody named Sonny Hostage on The View had to read an apologia. George says MSC got high on their own supply, out of touch. Amazing. But there are people, remember, George, there are people who agree with him. There are people who agree with him. It's not like they were the only ones. But it happens. Now understand what happens. Sonny Hostage on The View was forced to read this apologia, this act and declaration of contrition, the likes of which I cannot believe. It was so beautiful, so great, so glorious, so, oh my God, it was just splendiferous. It was so wonderful. And what it was, interestingly enough, was this statement they made about Matt Gaetz. Now, let me say something to you about Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz must be the Attorney General. I don't want to hear any reason against it. I don't want to hear any of this nonsense. Well, he doesn't have the administration. He never, was a loyal. Merrick Garland was the worst. The worst. Do you understand this? He was the worst. The worst. The worst. He did things that people still can't believe. And now we're hearing that if Kash Patel or whatever, people are threatening to leave, leave. What do we care about? We have won. This is the most important. I want you to understand something. This is a fight. Are you ready for this? Do you understand? This isn't about, ABC versus MSDNC or they're canceling a show. This is about the future of our country. Do you understand what we're looking at? Do you have any idea of what this is about? Matt Gaetz speaks. Have you ever heard Matt Gaetz ever say anything that you disagree with? Ever? His form might have been off. He might have maybe been a little rude, a little obstreperous, a little contumacious, dare I say. You ever heard it before? Absolutely not. And people like those rat bastards at Fox News don't like Tulsi, don't like RFK, they don't like this one because they're the old school, the old hack Republicans. They're like your parents who said, would you stop with this, it was the old days, with this long hair music? Do you understand this? What's this loud Beatles long hair? That's what they're doing. What's this new? That's not Republican. That's not conservative. That's not, excuse me. This is a battle now. This is war. This is World War III. We fought like mad to get this guy in. And the first thing you've got to do is respect the people that he believes are going to fulfill his mission and messages, which is ours. And Matt Gaetz, I don't care whether you like him. I don't know what this means. They never proved anything. If there was any way they could have possibly proved anything, same thing we said during Bill Clinton, Whitewater and Travelgate. If there was any way that Al D'Amato could have possibly proved anything against Bill Clinton, he would have done it. And there's nothing they proved against Matt Gaetz. Nothing. Is he a choir boy? I don't care. Is there anything involving young people? Prove it. If there is, fine. Act accordingly. Pete Hegseth, he has a tattoo on his chest. Shut up. This is the most important. I can't believe it. These idiots, I can't. These folks who want to turn our military over to some kind of a, I don't know what you want to call it, this radical left, whatever. Drag queens and DEI, and are we even debating this? Did I miss what happened? Have I been off on another planet? Have I been somewhere else? DEI, CRT, this nonsense has been an infection. It has ruined the very core of what we are through. And God bless these individuals from stopping this nonsense. This nonsense, this bullshit about men who are saying, I'm going to wear a dress, I'm going to wear a wig, and I'm going to go into your ladies' rooms and your locker room. And you, it doesn't work like that. What is the matter with us? Can you believe in the year 2024? Imagine one day there's a knock on your door and it's your grandfather. And he says, what have I missed? And you say, well, Grandpa, there's these ladies who are, well, they're men. And later on, for whatever reason, they decide to become a woman while they say they're okay. But they have all of their equipment. And basically they expect us to just accept it. Accept it. That's it. And they want to come into ladies' room. What? Yes. Yes. And they don't ask the women in the men's room, or ladies' room, excuse me. They ask the sole person. Sorry about that. And I don't care how the folks feel about this, who are the trans women. I care about the women in the restroom. I can't believe I'm talking about this. This is absurd. This is absurd. It's fraudulent. It's fictitious. It's fictive. It's a fad. And somebody said, I'm going to be the first transgender. Good for you. Don't let it interfere with me. What do you mean? Don't come into my ladies' rooms, Mr. Arts, Mr. Whatever you want. I don't care. This is absurd. We are not going to address bathrooms anymore. Okay? We're not. We're just not. It's stupid. This is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. I don't give a damn what you want to call it. Biological man, trans man. Enough. It is complete and total horseshit. Do you understand it? We've had enough of this. We're done with it. Finished. Through. whatever. And don't give me this business about, well, how do you know if a man? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. There are freaks, pervs, degenerates, paraphiles who get their jollies off of this, and we're not going to put up with this. Bobby Kennedy. They're coming after him because you didn't ask permission. The president didn't ask permission. You should have asked him the whole time. Is it okay? Can we ask Bobby? Marcus Aurelius says, imagine the insanity. MSDNC's legal department having to watch the spew just to be sure that a cast member doesn't commit defamation. And did you see the petulance and the anger and the horror? It's incredible. Do you understand what's happening here? This is a revolution. This is a revolution. Absolutely. This is absolutely one of the things which just kills me. I am so sorry, my friends. I am so sorry of how we have to go through this nonsense. I can't say anymore. Now we are on the roll. Do any of you feel any concern over World War III? Is there anyone even remotely a part of this? Or do you watch Jack Keane on Fox? Anybody care about this? Do you know what we're doing with this? Is there anybody here who feels that Putin is the bad guy who wants to take over Kyiv, who wants Ukraine, who wants to expand the Russia into this rekindled Soviet Union? Anybody believe that? Anybody believe it? Who does it? Come on. Anybody who believes this? Anybody who believes that Putin is the bad guy? Putin is the bad guy, and he's got to be stopped. And we got to send whatever money, billions of dollars, and these ATACMS, this weapon system that can only be fired by and used by and authorized by and operated by American technicians and the like, where we would be firing upon Russia. Anybody have a problem with that? Anybody who thinks that, come on, Putin's a bad guy, we've got to stop Putin, like Marco Rubio? Oh, I don't like this guy. Anybody? Is there anybody who feels like that? Come on, tell me. Because that's what they're saying. So both sides are saying. And I think Trump is smart enough. Anybody here believe that we can go like this to Bibi Netanyahu and say, here's a pen. You just sign what you sign, just fill it. What order would you like? How many 2,000-pound bombs? What do you like that? What would you name it? Something that knocks out something that just wipes out Palestinian real property completely. We'll just wipe out, try one of these. Oh, we got a good bumper buster here. Got a thermobaric. You'll like this one. Oh, this will take out everything. Oh, there won't be anything breathing. Here, you got that? Because after all, this is October the 7th. Anybody think that? Anybody think that? Anybody think that? Whatever it is, October the 7th, whatever you want, take it. Got to get that Hamas. Just wipe it out. Doesn't matter who they are. Men, women, children. I don't care. Anybody think that? CD says, Putin could be my uncle for all I know. Okay. Anybody think? Anybody think this is? Anybody figure? I mean, seriously. Because nobody. And you're going to put Elise Stefanik? Well, she's going to be with the UN, which is good, I guess. Marco Rubio. Here, sign this. Take this. Sign it. Whatever it is. Finish the job. Just finish the job. Remember, Marco Rubio said, you listen to me right now. We got to get Hamas and Hezbollah. We're going to go to Iran next. We're going to get Iran. We're going to get Lebanon. We're going to get everybody. We're going to go everywhere. We're going to wipe that place out. The only people who will be left will be Israelis. But that's it, gone because of October the 7th. Anybody truly believe that? Do you really believe this? It's just, I mean, do you really think that you're going to wipe out Hamas by blowing up Gaza? Oh, because they're in the tunnels and they're using the people as human. This trope, this meme. They're using the individuals as human shields. So you're just going to kill everybody? Do we not learn how this thing works? This is it's not our beef. It's not our problem. We did this in Vietnam. We have to stop the communism because it's going to rush the dominoes. It's going to be Indochina and Japan. But we're killing millions. Ah, hell with it. It's a small price to pay. They asked for it. How did they ask for it? Oh, the Gulf of Tonkin. October the 7th. There's always a 9/11. There's always some reason. There's some tripwire. Anybody believe this? Anybody believe this? No. No. And that doesn't mean you're anti-Semitic. It doesn't mean you're anti-Ukrainian. It doesn't mean any of that stuff. We've got borders here that need absolutely the best equipment, the best technology, new men, new women, new people watching it. Focus on us first. What is the matter? What is the matter? By the way, I know people love to say the USS Liberty. What do you think that matters? Then it says, no, not our problem. It's not our problem. When you bring this, where we go? When you say USS Liberty, seriously, what do you think that matters to people? Do you think anybody really cares about? Do you think anybody understands the USS Liberty? Do you think so? I know it's a popular thing. I know we say it because most people say U.S. Liberty. What are you talking about? What does that mean? Do you think that matters? And it's going to be tough because the president has made commitments. Look, he gave Adelson. Okay, fine. You got Jared. Okay, I know. Look, we can't throw away the good because you're holding out for perfect. In my world, I could never be elected to this place. Nobody would want me. I would have. They would primary my ass all over the place. The first thing I would do is I would say, nobody, no money here. Good luck. Have a good day. Ukraine, have a nice day. Good luck to you. Bibi, all the best, buddy. We love you. We love you. You have been fed a line of shite since the beginning of time. And now we're seeing something which is interesting. We're seeing for the first time people actually using X, Twitter, to talk about those subjects which we never could. Vaccines. I have seen more things on vaccines you will ever believe. I have seen more. We don't know anything about it. I've got friends of mine. This is my friend, doctor, family practice. He looks at the people. What did we do? This is it. He's got to be paid. He's got overhead. He's got staff. He's got to deal with the insurance companies all the time. He's got to. And if one doctor says, wait a minute, hold it. I don't believe in this course of treatment. By God, I think this particular thing has not been tested. And I think it's unsafe. In fact, I think it may be even worse. It may be deliberate. He's done so fast. And he's going to say to you, do you think I'm going to risk my practice, my family, my overhead, my staff, my patients, so that I can be Mr. Big Shot and make some claim about some immunization protocol? Are you kidding me? They're all like that. All the doctors. They don't have souls. You think lawyers are bad? Doctors are the worst. They practice whatever is the accepted medical treatment. When was the last time any doctor you ever went to ever talked about food and nutrition? Never. They talk about it in passing. Half of them are fat and don't know what the hell they're talking about. But they look through this peephole, and that's their worldview, and they're the worst. And when their profession was suggesting that kids should go through puberty blockers, and the biggest names in pediatric hospitals, they sat back and did nothing because they're spineless. They're gutless. They're on the front level. They're like everything else. They're like the FBI. The FBI says, hey, listen, I'm out here trying to investigate, bank robberies, for God's sake. I don't have time for this bullshit. But don't blame me. The doctors who say, I didn't know anything about this. But their organization, they accepted science. They're gutless. There is not one person, not one doctor who's not out of his or her mind who says, I think it's a great idea to take kids before they, or before they are pubescent and put them through some type of, procedure or protocol where their puberty is blocked. Nobody thinks that. Absolutely nobody. Now listen to this. Let me ask you a question. When's the last time you checked your devices for malware? Malware attacks have increased 643% since 2020, with approximately 10 million personal and corporate devices compromised with data stealing malware in just the last year alone. Additionally, 19.8% of computers face at least one malware attack annually. This emphasizes the critical need for individual users to protect themselves, their devices, and their data. This is why I use today's sponsor, Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, and I love the peace of mind it gives me. Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro is an award-winning antivirus with real-time protection, malware removal, ad blocking, scheduled scans, multi-device protection, and more that stops malicious downloads in their tracks. Without Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro, I would risk my finances, banking details, personal data, and more getting into the hands of cyber criminals. Thanks again to Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro for sponsoring today's extravaganza. And do yourself a favor and sign up for a free 7-day free trial, of Virtual Shield Antivirus Pro during their early Black Friday sale happening now, and get up to 75% off. Yes, you heard that. Up to 75% off. Only at virtualshield.com/Lionel. Once again, that's virtualshield.com/Lionel. Let me explain something to you, my dear, great and glorious friends, about our friend, Mr. Gaetz, Mr. Matt Gaetz, Mr. Gaetz, who is a fine gentleman, Mr. Gaetz. What do we know about him? Well, a couple of things. The House Ethics Panel, which is interesting, the House Ethics Panel has not agreed to release the report on former member Matt Gaetz, because remember he resigned. Following today's meeting, the chairman of the House Committee on Ethics, this Michael Guest, told reporters that the committee did not reach an agreement to release the anticipated report of Mr. Gaetz, who resigned from Congress after he was tapped to serve. There was not an agreement by the committee to release the report. And according to allegations, reports, and findings and the like, many members refrained from providing details to the press. Now, others indicate that the report is still not completed and that they plan to finish it and meet again in December. Now, the split committee would only need one Republican vote to make the release a reality. Now, and now that Gaetz is no longer a member, he is no longer subject to the committee's review or purview. Now, the chairman previously said that while he appreciated Johnson reaching out, it would not have a hearing on the committee's decision. I appreciate Mike reaching out, he said. I don't see it having an impact on what we as a committee do. Listen to this. The Ethics Committee, which, by the way, lacking a legislative, I guess, jurisdiction or purview, provides its members no capacity whatsoever to extract any kind of, this is according to Breitbart, provides its members no capacity to extract campaign funds from the donor class, is not highly sought after by members of Congress and is generally seen as a chore. Its members usually serve by request of their party's respective leader and are usually appointed for their loyalty to leadership, often in exchange for other favors. Gaetz, as you know, has been a thorn in leadership's side since he arrived in Washington, targeting, the entrenched and the usual folks. Marjorie Taylor Greene, I love her more and more every day, is among those folks who has been rather vociferous and outspoken and loud about this, and challenged her colleagues to put it all out there if they are going to play the game. She said, quote, "For my Republican colleagues in the House and Senate, if we are going to release ethics reports and rip apart our own that Trump has appointed, then put it all out there for the American people to see." Yes, that's right. All the ethics reports and claims, including the one I filed, she says, calling for the release of all your sexual harassment and assault claims that were secretly settled, paying off victims with taxpayer money. Oh, yeah. And of course, that those particular files from that guy whose name begins with E, the tapes, the recordings, the witness interviews, but not just those. There's more. This Mr. E wasn't the only asset. If we're going to dance, let's all dance in the sunlight. I'll make sure we do. So what they're saying is, are you really sure you want to do this? Are you really sure you want to do it? It's beautiful. And I say still, God bless this man. This is the most beautiful thing in the world. And right now I'm telling you, my friends, and I want you to listen very, very carefully to how this thing works. We are being asked right now to stand before, seriously, and let me ask you, what do you stand for? Okay, Trump won, okay, and we all did like this. Yay! What do you stand for? Are you going to say, okay, I'm going to sit back now? Do you think that it's over with? Do you think that what? Do you have any idea what's coming? Do you have any idea what's happening? Let me ask you a question. Changing the subject somewhat. What do you think would happen if Russia decides we're going to detonate a kind of a small, nothing big, but just a small tactical nuclear weapon in response to these ATACMS? Let's just take that. What do you think would happen? And you read in the paper, and you haven't seen this since 1945. Haven't heard this. A nuclear weapon used in warfare or in aggression. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? You think things are going to be great? We're going to say, oh, there he goes again. They're going to give everything that President Trump has before him to make his life miserable. They're going to do everything. And that's what they're doing. That's what Biden's doing. He's not doing anything. The committee's doing it. What do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen when they decide we're not done with this? Or we're not done with this one. They're going to try. They won't be able to do it. But I hope that the Senate and the House, there's not going to be any impeachment. That's not going to happen anytime soon. But they're going to do everything in their power to hurt this president. And remember what we do is I do not refer to anything with the exception of Sonny Hostage reading a hostage video. We don't talk about these people. We don't care about MSDNC. We don't care about that. They can blow up. We don't talk about it. But here's what happens. I told you my concern is going to be that if ever there is war, we're going to have some very serious problems with our allies or the people who basically in the Middle East who are paying attention to what's going on. That's number one. Number two, this dock strike, they never, ever, 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 you don't know how bad that's going to be. There's one thing we Americans don't do well: suffer, sacrifice. We don't do that. If something ever happened where the internet was down, forget it. Forget it. Through. Do you know what we would do? You'd go crazy. If ever there's any interruption in what our life is about. So, what's going to happen? I'll tell you what's going to happen. President Trump, I think he's going to be talking to Lutnick from Commerce and everybody else. And I hope they have people, and thank God, I love the fact that Elon Musk is there. I don't care if he's overstepping his bounds. I don't care if he's too kissy-kissy with the president. I don't care. The richest man in the world who happens to own the most important social media platform next to, I think, what we're seeing right now, is able to have more influence than anything you could ever imagine. God bless him for that. I mean it. God bless him for that. But I hope the president understands you cannot be kind. He has got to have the brutal, he has to have people in his group, in his cadre, in his coven, who are standing by, really ready to lower the boom if need be. I don't want to say something very, very quickly as I've done. Make sure, people have always said, I have all this information on the setting. Preparewithlionel.com is where you go to find out what to do for emergency food. And mypillow.com, promo code Lionel, is to thank our friend Mike Lindell for everything he did and tolerated with us. That's all. And Christmas is just around the corner. Get ready, my friends. Get ready. We're in the fun part right now. People are talking about going to the inauguration. Would you go to the inauguration? Would any of you want to go to the inauguration? Would you? Any? Crypto says, I don't agree about suffering and sacrifice. Illegal immigrants have been here. They can't do what we do. I don't think I'm not talking about them. We're not very good, but thank you. Anybody want to go to the inauguration? Hell no. I swear to God, I know more people say, you want to go to the inauguration? No. No. Is there something wrong with me? No. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go anywhere near that place. I know this may sound terrible. I don't like going to Washington anymore. I don't like it. It used to be kind of fun. It was great during the old days, but not now. Not now. Remember the Black Lives Matter and the Hay Adams and the fires and all that? I will never be able to get my sense of love for this government. I love my country. But let me tell you something right now. Let me leave you with this. What you are seeing right now that is happening regarding the world of media alone is like nothing you could ever imagine happening. This is a revolution, my friend. Do not let anybody fool you. Nobody cares about Gaetz or Tulsi Gap. Just they're doing everything. They are so desperate. These people are so miserable, and they don't understand they've lost. All right, dear friends, thank you so much. Thank you for your kindness. Thank you. Crypto Domini, Linda Hazlitt, thank you. Marcus Aurelius, Georgie Lenz, thank yous. Kelly McKinnon and Marcus Aurelius, thank yous. This morning, there's Linda. Linda says, no, I think the people who run Biden want to leave as much shite for Trump as possible. We all have to toughen up. Absolutely. This eve, I was on the phone, or I was on the Sean Atwood show, and it was most fascinating per usual. We were talking about Diddy, and it was one of the most interesting events as you can imagine. So be on the look for that. He's a fine, fine man. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. We love yous. See you tomorrow at 8 a.m. And until then, remember, my friends, these final words. Oh, don't forget, follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. And until then, remember, my friends, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da, da.